Welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I am Ms. Day. This one felt kind of complicated right away, but also not. It's like, I feel like the first thing I got was someone who sort of wants to or already has detached from like material things, where I feel like I don't know if you've like relocated or if you've just like let go of strings that do not matter, but I feel like that's sort of your way of life. And I think that that is something that maybe you always knew better than to think that the material stuff was what mattered the most. So another thing that I got right away was sort of like, if you ever feel like there's sort of, just think right now about looking towards the future. It seems like whoever this one is for, you may sort of at this moment in time be getting a sense of doom and gloom, but it's not an actual thought process that you're going through. I think that you may be feeling the weight of something that's actually nagging at you, but you think it's just what's in front of you, but it's not. It's something that's actually like kind of lingering and pulling you back. Because when you're a grown person, when you're like not drama inducing, this feels like there is resentment between you and someone else in your life, whether they're in the past or someone that you've experienced recently. It's like, it's almost like that negative feeling is flooding into your perception of now. But that's not actually how you feel about things. Like, that's not your character. It's just sort of like this cloud that's seeping into your attitude and taking it over. And it feels like you need to move that through you on your own. I was thinking today of someone I know using the word percolate about things, and I just think that's a funny word to use. I never think to use it. So I was thinking that over. I wonder what the definition of percolate actually is. I wonder if I was doing that. But anyway, the word that it makes me think of, which may not be right, I'm not quite sure, is processing. And I feel like you need to do some processing. And it really, this word resentment, I don't think that's a character thing. Like, I don't think you have a character that is resentful. I think that there is a fair sense of resentment. This may not be between you and a person. This could be between you and like a community, like a cloud of people maybe that are behind you. And it's like you already have removed people. But I don't think that your view is negative. Like, I don't think you're slowing down because you're falling behind. I think that you're slowing down because you have some baggage to get rid of. But in order to get rid of it, you have to process it. That's what I was going to say with the word percolate. Like, in my mind, I think to myself processing, because I don't think over one thought by looking at just that one thought. It's like I have to step back, take a further back seat, and look at all of the thoughts to do with each other, surrounding a topic. And that's what this feels like. This feels like in order to, wow, this is cool because it's like you are already okay. It's interesting because this is almost like a step above healing, where everything that I keep experiencing today is about like evolution, like the last like a higher step, where it's like, okay, I've released a lot of baggage, time to go up. And I feel like you're actually there as a whole, but like you've already fine-tuned yourself to vibrate higher and to be of service, bigger. And I think that sometimes, even when you're accountable and you're a growing person, I think that like disappointment in fairness not being there, not being present where it ought to be, like I think that can seep into one feeling, and then you may be accountable enough to identify as that and kind of take that on as your own. And that's right, in order to get to process it. But this feels like you need to remove that sense of feeling resentment. Like the word resentment is just sitting there, just like that. It's like just sitting there, and I can see it. And it's like, well, there it is, there it is. But I think that, what is this making me? What did I hear someone say today? It's like at some point, I feel like your view is literally like you've already up-leveled. Maybe you don't know that. Maybe this isn't a normal conversation that you get to have with people, but I think you've up-leveled to where your view can be more aerial of the situation that you're in and like of the information that you interact with, because this seems like this cloud feels personal, but I don't think it's you. Like, I don't think it's your baggage, like your stuff built up over it. I think that it's stuff that is ready to go. Like, it's time to release that cloud. Because I feel like you can see way more. I just feel like bigger, like up level, where you're getting rid of this one thing and don't identify as it. Going forward, I think that taking a period of processing is really important, because taking the time to process it's so needed. It's like whenever you just think of your every single up level like you're a teenager again, where you have more stuff in your environment that you're interacting with, and you have to sort more information out, but you're also creating more information, like emotionally and hormonally, and physically you have to like tame that differently. It's like the beast is stronger and bigger now, so you have to tame it stronger and bigger to counter that. So with this, okay, interesting. Because I think the way that, like, when we tolerate things, even if we don't engage, if we don't remove it, then the poison is still there. So if you're not actively cleaning all of the time, every single second, then it just lingers. And I feel like that's what it is. That's all it is whenever there's like a cluster of negative information or energy. If I'm to clear a home, it's not like I'm clearing out something with 3 claws. It's more so clearing out stuff that's been stirred because of other stuff that moves at that same level. And so I think that at a certain point, when you've already stepped up and you're actively doing that, which this is all like, bam, you're up higher, then that sense of disappointment, it makes sense and it's rational. But I think that is the reason that it's like there's this cloud to get rid of. And it's just a cluster of these teeny tiny little moments over time that you were aware of physically, but you just kind of like repelled away, but you were still there. Like you were still experiencing all of this. And I feel like once you've enlightened yourself like you have, then it's like the blinders are gone. So now you have a larger and a more, I think, realistic awareness, like a more aerial view. But it feels like, yeah, I think that you're not falling backwards, and maybe that's been something worrying you. That's interesting, because I thought about what I was like, as soon as I started shuffling, I thought about someone's worrying, like someone's worrying. And in worrying, someone is in need of peace. And you need that in this. Like something, I feel like the feeling of worry is literally the opposite of feeling at peace. Because even if it makes sense, like if you're just like, imagine someone driving home in a blizzard and they have crap tires. That's not a good scenario. So then you're just kind of hoping that things work out. But the feeling of being worried means you're not going to go to sleep until you know they do. Like you're not going to be able to relax your systems until you're sure that you can relax them all the way. And this is sort of what that feels like. I feel like in order to, it's like you need to take the time to process your own development personally. Take the time to process it in your mind at your own pace, because we really get robbed of that. And for some reason, I think that you're able to be in control of what your mind is focusing on. Like, I don't feel like you have chains in a physical way at every single moment of every single day. And if you do, then make time. It's like organize your time differently or something. Because this seems like you need peace, but it also feels like you're in control of that. Like, stop wondering what you need to heal next and accept your next stage. Like, accept your own, okay, I am grown past this, so that's just stuff I need to work through. Interesting. Because I feel like when you're processing things in a more evolved way, and you're not crawling through the mud, you know, which happens, but when you're not in that moment, it's like, I think that you can detach easier. Yeah, since you can detach so easily to like material things, sort of think that way with emotional things and physical things that you have to interact with in order to get through and then remove them. Think of it like what you do, the art of detaching that you've figured out along your own journey. Like, I just feel like you do that. Do that in your mind, one thought at a time. Like just one moment or instance at a time. And take the time to do it so that it doesn't take up your day. So that you're like, I'm going to work on that for a moment. I'll process some stuff out. I feel pretty, strong, and I feel like I've accomplished enough today to where I can sit back and just kind of take a moment of evaluating what it is I could just kind of work through real quickly with myself. And do what you need to do, and then get up and go do something better than that for yourself. Like, do something that makes you feel like you are in your elevated life. And that's why I feel like the word resentment was in the beginning, where it's like there is a sense of disappointment that is lingering, but it's tied to the past. Like, you no longer have certain things that are pushing you back. So it's like, stop thinking that you're being held back, because you're not. You've already gotten that cleared. Like, the way is clear. Neat. You can control how quickly you get through things, and like, you can heal from really big things. And you might not know that you need to heal from really large community things. Like just being disappointed in how people live their lives, or how some people have to. Sometimes you have to process that. Like if you spend time on it, you have to work through it. And you know what? That makes me think of this like interview that I saw recently of some women who were speaking on behalf of the women in Sudan. And they were, I hope I'm saying that name correctly, but they were saying, they were like, what do you want the world to know? The person who was interviewing this woman, and who knew what the other women were going through, and are going through. I'm even like passive with my mouth. But she said, honestly, she was like, I don't have any hope for the world caring, because she said the world is so tolerant of this happening. And I feel like, it's the whole earth. Like, that's all of us. So it's like, if we are aware of it, but we can just be like, well, anyway, I don't want to think about that. It's like if somebody needs to just think about it in like shorter terms, because the aerial view should equal the little one, like if you're for real about caring. But like in smaller terms, like just imagine someone not actually having anything to say. If you're in a family environment and you're like feeling like things are being tolerated that are actually harmful, but it's just tolerated, that's poison just kind of coming through, and you're like, oh, I hope it doesn't touch me, but if it does, I guess I'm wet with poison. It's like, that feels like being robbed of a choice. And I feel like that's why sometimes if you can't change that, you have to grab hold of that feeling of justified resentment it leaves you with and take it forward in a larger way, where you literally rise above it, and you take the time to process through that. Like, yuck, ew, gross, wrong. Like, accept what you accept because it matches the new level that you accept. And if that means you have to take a period of time alone to process releasing that feeling of disappointment and like letdown, because if you release that feeling, it's releasing the weight, and then you can do something. You can do more with that extra motion, the space. Like, don't just it's not about just taking the time, it's about taking space away. And something else that this is making me think, like, think about what peace feels like in your body in a physical way. Like, what would really make you feel happy? Like, what would really make you feel good? It's not about what other people think is good and all set and successful and full grown and whatever everybody else's view is. It's like, let your view be as large as it is. Like, allow it to be that big and accept it. And in doing that, you remove these little objects that block the way, that get in the way of the light. It's like, I'm thinking about like literally doing these and having someone like leaning over them so much that like I can't even see them, where it's like, that's all. If that's all you're getting from something that you've experienced or something that you look at, then you need to remove how you feel about it, because you can't remove the thing you're looking at. So you just need to get rid of how you feel about it and accept your own elevation. Whew. That's all it is. It's like accept it. And once you know that it's resentment underneath there, I think that that's how you get rid of it. I think that as soon as you know, you're going to be like getting rid of it in the way that you're like, okay, what do I want to do with my day? Because it's not thinking like that. It's not feeling like that. That cluster of a cloud, like that's not a part of your new experience in your body. So you need to make it so in space, in your space around you. And that might take some time to regrow what it is that you accept around you. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope it's helpful. Definitely let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next reading. All right, bye.